Hello. So as you know, I've been playing Dandy's World for about almost now 2 months. Well, at the end of the month, in the month it will be 2 months. But I wanted to rank the cards. Also, is there a way I can zoom in? Because this shit looks too small. Yeah, whatever. So obviously we have D for D tier. Obviously, S for S. I mean C for not hot garbage. B for pretty decent. If I had a choice between it and then something, I wouldn't be too mad about getting A tier, something absolutely like necessary, but not like too necessary where I'm like absolutely. And then S tier is obviously you guaranteed should pick this card every single time, which we can already get this immediately out of the way. Diamond is you absolutely want this card. Not only do you have higher chance to get med kits, but you also have higher chance to get like those items that like instantly completes generators. You also have a higher chance of getting like pop and chocolate boxes and all that shit. And also like med kits, bandages. It's basically like the best card, absolutely. Um, I guess we'll sort of go with like cards that like instantly go to the bottom. Penny Pincher and Lost Item are absolute D tier items. They would be useful if it was like 100 tapes. If it was 100 tapes, then this was like around C tier, maybe a B tier thing. But since it's only like 45, it goes here. And if it got rid of the common items, then maybe a C tier. But it's no. Like this could be like if you get lucky like enough, this is like a S tier. If you get unlucky, it's a D tier. Um, he was just in this room earlier. Come on, Foxy. This is dog water. If there was two of these, then absolutely this would probably be like a C tier to a B tier. But since you only have one of them, 10% discount on both items are like either $2 off to like some items it's like 10 tapes off. Not worth it. Like yeah, with that one item it does go to like around C tier, but I would say no. Hard items that I gotta admit it kinda depends. I feel like they're kind of a C tier to a B tier. You only get two of these, and then you have to think about when do you want to use these or not. And most people just waste them early game. So I would say most likely this is probably a C tier. This, I actually gotta admit, is actually the first B tier. I'm not too upset when pick it up. It's not like a terrible item. It increases the elevator time by like 5 seconds, max 10. Not terrible. It's your fault for getting in here. Not terrible item. Same thing with this. I'm not too mad when I pick it up. It's not terrible. It increases your stamina by 10, max 20. Not terrible. I'm never too mad at getting it. This item, I'm kind of debating to put C tier. Because it's not too good. It increases your radius by like 25 or something like that. Which it's not that much of a big difference. If it was like more like 50% or made you into a light tune, then this would absolutely be a B tier to maybe an A tier. But since it's only 25, I'm leaning towards putting this in C tier. It's not absolute necessary, but like it's something like that's like nice maybe to pick up once in a while. Blackout, absolutely S tier, A S tier. I think this is absolutely a necessary one. By the way, I forgot to mention the Christmas one. Yes, there is a Christmas one. That's more like a C to maybe a B tier. I'm not going to add it here because obviously I don't think it's necessary to add. Because it's only a limited time thing. So I'm not going to necessarily add it. But electrical is absolutely like, it's one of the great cards. I actually kind of halfway tempted to put it because it only lowers it by 5. Like instead of it you only getting it like 30% of the time, you get it 25% of the time, which is kind of not that big. Like it's super good, but I do think it's a lot lower than what people actually think it is. I think a lot of people kind of overhype this card. I'm putting A tier. It is a really good card. I still think you should absolutely pick this up, but it is like a not as useful as what people think it is. This card, I absolutely am kind of debating. I really do think it's really good. Problem with this card, I think you only get like 1, and it only lowers them up by 5%, which is not that good. It does lower, it reduces their speed when panic mode, which is actually really good if you're trying to leave the elevator. But I gotta admit, I think I'm gonna leave it for this A tier. I'm kind of debating again. I really do think this is a pretty useful item. It lowers generators by 5 per second, which making generators 5 faster. The problem is, I feel like if it had 2 cards, this would absolutely be S tier. But because it's only 1 card, like if you have like 5 machines, you're losing out on like 20 seconds instead of that. But I think this card, I'm kind of debating. If you have an ability tune, this is absolutely S tier. If you have no ability tune, this is more like a depends on your team stake. If your whole other teams have abilities, then this is like a B to a C tier item. If your whole team doesn't really have an ability, this is a D tier. So I think I'm gonna put it in B tier because it really depends on if you have an ability tune. If you have an ability tune, absolutely. Ichor leaks, in my opinion, are just C tier, and they're not as dangerous as a blackout, but they're not as bad. And then this, I gotta admit, I think I'm gonna put it B tier because the award is worth it. Like it's worth it. Problem is, the time is just not. The time to do this takes like fucking forever. If you have a whole team that actually knows what they're doing, and this is absolutely worth the award, especially with this item. I think before I do anything, I am gonna resort this. I'd rather have this over that. Electrical, I would rather have. Out of these 3, I would rather have Sprint. I think. Depends if I have ability tune. If I have ability tune, then absolutely I would put this at. But I think I'm gonna just do this. This, still could keep it at the end. This, yes, yeah, that's fine. This, I would rather have the discount. Kind of halfway to put the discount C. Yeah, I'll put the discount C. I think these two are a little worse. And then I'd rather have an item than get 45 tapes. I think the only reason why you'll pick up 45 tapes is if you're early game and you're trying to get Sprout to heal like your distractor before going into the the third floor. I think that's the only reason I can think of why you would ever want to pick up penny pitchers before you pick up any other cards. It's pretty much a useless fucking ability. I think if this was 100 tapes, it would be more like this tier. But since it's not 100 tapes, it's like that. I think that's basically it. I also kind of want to do the other tier list, but my problem is like I have not used every trinket, so it would basically just be me reading the instructions and like basically talking about them. But this is my tier list about the cards. And then obviously the ice card would probably be around here, C tier. C tier to B tier. I do feel like ice should be around here. Actually, no, it'd be in B tier, yeah. Because ice is very dangerous, but not nearly as dangerous as a blackout but it's not like it's not less dangerous than a Ichor leak. Yeah. And then we're going to talk about tickets because by the way, I am having the wiki open. Also, I don't think this is every ticket. Is this every ticket? Is there any other ticket that's like not here? I actually think that might be every ticket. I actually think that's every ticket. Yeah, I think that's literally. I think it is every ticket. Okay. I am gonna have the wiki open and then uh, me talk about these because I think I have an idea what thing could be useful and what's not. The alarm, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it increases movement speed by 25% when in panic mode. It's basically just a weaker version of the mirror. But I believe the mirror is like 30% and is active for the whole panic zone over 25, and then and it only lasts for 10 seconds. So I think this is like I think this is more of a early game, maybe a C tier, but I think because of the mirror, I would have to rank it a D tier. I'm sorry. Blue Bandana, it's like 7.5 and then lowers the chance of skill checks by 5. I think if it was like 15 and kept the 5, it would be worth it. But I really do think this ticket needs needs to be like 20% and then needs to be like 10% to be viable. I am going to put it in C tier because there are some tunes that could really badly necessarily need this, but I really do think it's just not as worth it. Batty Bat, I think it makes like you get a 3% stunned or something like that. I think it's an other, if I'm not mistaken. Increases the attack cooldown of any twisted by 3 seconds. It's useful, I think, with the sword, but it's not that. It's like very useful early game, not so much late game. So I would rank this. I still think it's B. I still think it's D tier. If it was F tier, I'm gonna add a new tier. I'm adding a new tier. How do I add a tier below? I think I think I have to add an F tier. F tier, F tier, and then we're gonna just make this. What color should we make it? Let's make it pink. Why not? Pink. I think alarm goes here. I think Batty Bat goes B. Dog bone. I think every single time you pick up an item, you increase your movement speed by 25%. I think max 40. Increase movement speed by 25% for 4 seconds upon collecting an item. Effect can be stacked by capping at 40 speed. It's like useful if you're Bassy. If you're playing Bassy and you have this item plus the this item, the Feather Duster, I would say like it's a useful thing. But I feel like Basty's the only one that can really get this to work really good. And if we had a third ticket slot, this could be like a C tier to maybe B tier. But I feel like if you're not Basty, this item is kind of like meh. So I think D tier. This is the obviously F tier because it just also let me get all those done like out of the way. Those are all F tier. Basically, just highlight the ornaments, eggs, baskets, and then I believe pumpkins. And basically, they're just useless. I think the only other one this one I think deserves D tier only because research is useful, and if you're playing as Roger, like it's a useful thing to have to know where all the research is on the map. But if you're not playing as Roger, it's a kind of maybe useful item to complete the mastery, but that's really it. I would say like after doing mastery, this item becomes fucking useless. The brick is absolute F tier, but it's meant to be F tier, so that's it. This item would be S tier if it had like a whole thing where like after like 30 or 60 seconds it recharged. But since you only have one floor, I'm have to rank it a C tier. I'm sorry. Air horn, I think you get like a 10% movement speed. Yeah, increase walking and run speed by 10% on odd floors. Uh, why do I have Roblox open? You know what? I don't know. Useful if you have a backup distractor, but if you're not doing a backup distractor, I do think it's like more of a C tier to a B tier. I think C tier. I think C tier is fine. This item used to be is still shit. Like it's still going to F tier. But the item used to be worse. It used to lower your movement speed and walking speed by 20%. Now it's, I believe, 10%. So, yeah. Obviously, F tier. Even with the other thing we're about to talk about, it's still useless. It's only like 30 tapes. It's less than Pity Pincher for some reason. Yeah, for some reason it's less than Piggy Pinch and doesn't have an extra effect at all. Which is kind of fucking stupid. Cooler, in my opinion, is more of a C tier to a B tier item. But I think because of the dial update, this is more of a D tier item because of the 5% movement speed. With this dial update, if you survive the dial update and get the 2 cards where it increases your stamina by 10, you increase your stamina basically by 170. I mean 180. Yeah, it's 170. My bad. 100. If you're 100%, like Yada for example, if you're 100 if you have 100 stamina, by doing the whole dial stuff in and the 2 cards, you basically made yourself a 3-star with a almost going to a 4-star stamina tune. Without the 5% lower buff. So yeah, I absolutely think the cooler got nerfed after the dial update. Cran, I think Cran gives you like a if I'm not mistaken, gives you like a random uncommon item to like rare item, if I'm not mistaken. Gets an item from uncommon tier at the only uncommon tier? Dandy shop exclusive items are included. If it was not just uncommon items, I think this item would be higher, but since it's only uncommon items, I'm gonna have to rank it D tier. Dandy plush, my opinion, if you play as Sprout and Ginger Ginger, now that Ginger is now based on tapes, I would say maybe this item deserves C tier. But because I can only really think of 3 tunes, the other one being Tiffany, that this plush would be worth it. I think if you had the 3rd ticket slot, this would be higher. Like it would be a B tier item. But since there's no 3rd ticket slot, I really do think this item's like more of a D tier to even close to almost becoming F tier. But I think it just barely beats it. I'll reorganize this when I get to the end. Diary increases your stealth by 25%. If we had a 3rd ticket slot, this would absolutely be B tier to A tier. But since we don't, I think really this is more of a C tier to B tier. I think I'm leaning towards putting it to low C tier, but I think D tier makes sense. Dog plush is absolute S tier. Increases your walking by 10%. If you're playing as Yada, this is like a fucking necessary item. If you're playing as like Pebble, this is absolutely necessary as well. If you're playing as basically any distractor tune or basically any tune with high movement speed, this is basically a necessary item. It's so fucking good. Good. Purse, if you're not playing as Sprout, or the only way I can think of is like you need like early healing in the beginning as like a Sprout or Ginger. Like Tiffany Ing is Tiffany. Like you don't like Tiffany's like 70 tapes. Like you're telling me you're struggle. Like you can get like almost 70 tapes before you finish the third fucking before you. And you could get 70 tapes after finishing your first floor. Like Ing then with her, I would still not say this is a useful. I gotta admit, I think it goes here. It goes to F tier. I was trying to think of reasons of maybe why you want to pick this up, but no. Dollar Buster. I think for certain tunes, this item is absolutely a C tier. I'm gonna put C tier, especially for Bassie. It's a really good item, but I think that's the only two tunes I can. Bassie, I know for sure. If you're playing as Bassie, this item is definitely with Dogbone, definitely like a A tier. But I think if you're because of most tunes, you're this item. This item, I think you can get like 3 random items based on something random tiers or something like that. What is it? Yeah, 3 random items from common to uncommon. I mean, common to rare tier. So you have a chance to get a bandage. But you also have a chance to getting like all like gumballs, for example. And it doesn't include Danny shop items, which kind of fucking sucks in my opinion. I think this item, and it's also a one-time use, and then after you use it, it's gone. I think this item's F tier. I'm sorry to say. Like you're telling me you need 3 items in the beginning of a match every single time you play. I feel like if you're doing maybe like a random, if you're doing like a gamble bling, maybe. But Friendship basically Boxing's ability, but for stamina, and basically you already know Boxing's ability is not good. Basically, Boxing's ability is that it increases the increases your generator repairment speed depending on how many tunes are alive. Problem is, tunes love other players either love to disconnect in the beginning or just love to fucking just kill themselves very easily. So, yeah. Goes to cans. This is absolutely A tier. I think the only reason why I would say it's not S tier is because, again, if we had a 3rd ticket slot, this item would absolutely be S tier. But since we only have 2, I really do want to say that absolutely nerfs it enough where, in my opinion, it's a tier item. This item on, I think, really only 2 characters that really can use this is Yada and and Coco. I was trying to think of other 2 that can maybe use this item useful, but no, really, I can only think of those 2. Because the bun item and the, and Candy. So I really think if you're playing as those 2 characters, I think this item's C tier. I think because of how useful Yada and Coco are, and like increasing increasing candy items aren't as terrible. I think if there was a 3rd ticket slot, this item would absolutely be higher. But since you only have 2, I think I'm gonna have to rank this. I think unfortunately I have to rank it D tier. If it wasn't for that, if you had 3 ticket slots, I think this item would absolutely belong into the lowest I can give it, like C, and then the highest is probably like high B to maybe low A. Coin, absolute F tier. You can't even predict. It doesn't even show you. You have to actually push on your stats to see what the fuck your buff was. If you don't do that, you basically can't even tell what fucking increase you get. Also, it's only 12%, which isn't a huge buff. I really think if it was like higher, like maybe like a 33 or something like that, I think this item would be useful. But since it's so low, Manual, this is absolutely F tier. Since it's only 5%, it's not a huge buff. It's like dog water. Magnifying glass is absolute C tier. I mean AS tier. Basically increases the multiplier of skill checks by 1.75, but lowers your skill check size by 33. If you have a really high skill check, this is basic. This with this item is basically busted which by the way, yes, let's get this out of the way. Yes, these two items are S tier. Absolutely best tier. This item, I think if we had a third ticket slot, this would absolutely be C tier, because in some distractors, they would absolutely need this item. But since there's no third ticket slot, I have to rank this lower. It doesn't really do anything else but give you a horn. This item, in my opinion, for certain tunes, would be go higher, but I think because we don't have a third ticket slot, or it's only really useful on like Cosmo and like Sprout and then Ginger, and it's useful in solo player in my opinion. But I really have to rank this like a C tier. Makeup, what does this do again? I can't remember. What does it do? A Twisteds will no longer be alerted to skill checks. I think if this was like an early game item, and we had the third ticket slot, this would absolutely be like a high tier thing. But since we don't, I really feel like this is more of a D tier item. I definitely would rank this higher if you were stuck playing this game on phone. Mirror, I think it highlights Twisteds and Blackouts or something like that. I would have to go to Event Tunes. Event Tunes, what was it? Like, it highlights all other Twisted locations for 3 seconds for the user after they use it, after completing a machine. It could be useful in certain situations, but I really do feel that this item is more of a F tier or D tier item. I think a D tier most likely. It's not. I really feel like that's a dog. I think this item, I think increases your chance of getting a skill check by 5. Nope. Oh yeah, it does. It increases the skill checks by size by 5. And increases chance by 5. This item is, in my opinion, yeah, same thing with the book. 5 is way too fucking low. And this is an item you have to get from a fucking fully 100% a Twisted. That is absolute dog shit in my opinion. I would like to see what people say in the comments and like, oh, your opinion's wrong and all that, like with this item. But in my opinion, I think this item is absolute. Like, the only thing I can think of is like tunes that have low, but by the chance, if you're struggling with skill checks that often, either one, use the blue bandana, or if you're that much of a noob, there's an item right here. I think it's like highlights Twisteds when, like, I think when starting at work, a machine affects Twisteds in range are highlighted for 5 seconds. This is a way better item. Like, when you start a machine, you get information of where the Twisteds are over after completing a machine, and it's also a lot longer than the other item, but I still think this is more of a D tier. I think it's way better. This item, if we had a third ticket slot, absolute S tier. I think this item, if we had a third ticket slot, this item would be absolute S tier. But since we don't, I have to rank this item based on this current meta, and I unfortunately think this item is more of a D tier to a low C tier. I think I'm put at C tier because there are a lot of tunes that actually could easily use this item that would be fucking busted. But since of the current meta, I have to rank this C tier in my opinion. Pink Bow, it depends on which tunes. If you're playing as a Roger, this is absolutely a S tier item. But I do think I'm going to rank this B tier. It depends on which tune you're playing. If you're playing as certain tunes, this item is really useful. If you're playing as if you're playing like most tunes, this item's more of a C tier to like a D tier item. Actually, yeah, we'll rank it C tier. My bad. Pop. It only gives you pop, and it's not even that useful. You're basically wasting. It's just meh. This, it increases your running speed by 25% when the floor is just open or something like that. Increase movement speed by 25% when a new floor has arrived for 10 seconds. I really do think this is the F tier. Like its air horn brothering, just goes in C tier. Really depends on if you're doing backup distractors and all that, or switching distractors on one floor and one floor there. This, I believe, this is the other one. Is this Savoring Charm, or is it the other charm? Sweet Charm. Nope, it's Savoring Charm. Yeah, it's Savoring Charm. Do I need any midget? This item would be useful if it actually saved you from a hit from a lethal. Because if you're doing like a lethal run with like Danny or Dial, like if this item actually protect you, this item would be really useful. Oh god, this is what I think it is. Decrease your stealth by 5. Why is it the other thing that does stealth is 25, but the other one is only 5? Why? Actually, yeah, I'm gonna put the F tier. The problem with it is that it doesn't increase your thing by like a whole star, and it only just barely for certain tunes. I might reorganize this. Actually, the crayons is F tier because it only gives you increased items of uncommon tier. That's not that useful. Like, yeah, there's a bunch of useful uncommon items, but eh. I actually might put this in F. Yeah, I'm gonna put it F tier as well. I might reorganize the top of the list. I do think a couple items I might be overrating, but yeah. Sword, I think, if I'm not mistaken, this item like gives Twisted a 30. No, it's 15% speed debuff for 30 seconds. Cannot be stacked. I gotta admit, I think this item's F tier. Like, if you're doing the Batty Bat / swords method, like, this item combo would be like a D tier. But I think this item is like, yeah, I think D tier is max. Light Bulb. The problem with the Light Bulb, I think it increases your light radius by 25. This might be actually the item that increases your light radius by 25. I might have to go read the card. What did the card actually do? Let me go find out before I might upgrade that tier list as well. I know you have 2 of these. What does the light card do? Tunes will glow slightly. It doesn't even tell you what percentage. Is it like a 25 or is it 10%? Well, when did I put it? Oh, I put it. Oh, never mind. That's like that's a perfect spot for it. Never mind. I was like wondering. Go back to tickets. I think the one we're doing is the light bulb, which is here with variety. Increases your light radius. This is the item that increases your 25%. Also increase light radius for light producing tunes. Like, that's not terrible, but I think if you had a 3rd ticket slot, this item would be worth it. But since we don't have a 3rd ticket slot, I really do think this item's F tier. Stammer Dump. Only 15, I believe it does it, which is fucking nothing. I think if this item increases your... If it gives, like, a second buff over just giving you 15 more stamina, then it would be worth it. But since it only does 15 stamina, that's like nothing. It's dog shit. Speed shoots. This is absolute S tier. Like, absolute S tier. This item, what does it do? I think it increases your stamina regen by 200% on generators or something like that. It's either 200% or 100%. I can't remember. It's 100. Increase stamina regen by 100% while starting from machine. I really don't. I think with the current meta and being without the current meta, this item is not worth it. I think I have to still give this item a D tier though, because there could be certain situations where this item could be worth it, especially like for maybe your backup distractors. But that's the only way I can think of. This item, because of the current meta, same. Just put these here. Depends on which tunes. It really depends on which tunes you're playing as. These items could be either or verse by Verta. If you have a tune with higher then I believe I think the max I would say is like maybe 25. I mean 30. I think the max 30. If you have a tune that's like higher cooldown than 30, then I recommend you putting this item on. If you have a tune that's like 30 or below, to just put the ghost can. This item, I think it increases your stamina regen by like 40%, which sounds good on paper. Problem is, that's... Oh no, it's 50%. Never mind. It's not... I thought it was 40. No, it's 15. Oh, then never mind. This thing is hot garbage. Thinker's Cap. Again, if you're a noob, then yes, this item is really worth it. But since it only increases it by 40, and if you're not a noob, then this item is, in my opinion, hot garbage. This item, absolute hot garbage, only works on 2 tunes, which one of them doesn't even want to use it, would rather use other items to boost themselves. And the other item, and the other character, like, yeah, it's a pretty useful item if it had a 3rd trinket slot. But since it doesn't have a 3rd trinket slot, this item is like, meh. Dials thing. If we had a 3rd trinket slot, this would absolutely be S tier. But since we don't have a 3rd trinket slot, I really do think it's a B tier item. Mirror. If I'm not mistaken, it increases your thing by like 30%. Yeah, increases running speed by 30% during a panic mode. And it's the whole duration. For certain tunes, this is absolutely a lifesaver. I do think this is a B tier item. Actually, let's rank these a little bit higher. They could be B tier. Wow. I think this item's actually more of a D tier because of how low that thing is. Yeah. Yeah, all these items have their yeesh. That's why they're down here. Yeah. All these items, they have their yeesh, but I think their yeesh is not like as useful. We'll bring this actually a little higher. I think these are basic. This is fine. V's remote, absolute S tier. Instantly completes a generator, but if you can only increase, it only completes the generator fully if it's under half. Which means if you have 4 generators and you have multiple people with V's remote, it will only complete 2 generators completely instantly before it does not do anything. Useful item. My only issue with V's remote is that basically it is basically the best item in the entire game. And is like basically a necessary item. Problem is the only way to get it is by completing a twisted that's fucking rare. Like, and I really do think either this item should either, one, get a nerf, or this item should be like a, what it should really do is the item we're about to talk about, really should do its job, and this item does like a thing where it like does like 50% on on one time on every generator. Still making it worth, like, make it reason why, like, it's item, but still, yeah. This item, I don't even know what the fuck it does. I can't even remember. I think it's like, a lot of people have said this item is useless, but I can't even remember what it does. Highlights all items on the map during panic mode for the user when taking script. Why would you ever want that? That is dog water. This item, I think early game, this item is absolutely a C tier. But because of V's remote, I have to rank this item like more of an F tier. It's basically a jump rope cable, but you only use it once. This item doesn't have the whole thing issue where it depends on how many generators you do. It doesn't work. But the problem is, it's just a weaker, it's just a jumper cable, but you use it only like once per floor. It's meh. Okay, I'm gonna reorganize a couple of these. I think this is absolutely the worst one for this tier. I think the bow is highest. I would say this. These are both either changeable. And Feather Duster's fine where it is. This tier, I think I would just put the cooler apps to F tier. Apps to down here. Danny's item could be here. That item is fine where it is. What does it do? Highlights when generators completed. I actually really kind of want to put this here. I think that's useless. I think Yada's items are more useful. I think this item could be useful in certain tunes. That, again, if you have the combo, this item's useful. If you don't have the combo, these items are kind of more F tier. Yeah, we'll put these extra items in F tier. I really think if you have both of them equipped, the strategy's not terrible, but if you don't have that strategy equipped, these items are kind of useless. I feel like Dial's thing should be higher. I think that should be right there. That's fine. I think this item should go here, actually, instead. If we're putting the other ones there and there, yeah, we should put that there. Now the fun tier. Changing all of these to make this look nicer. Absolutely, these are the worst items in the entire game. We're basically going to base them off on which ones I like more. I like the ornaments, that, and that. Then we'll put the two actually useless items in the entire game. I think the coal is more useful than the brick. That is a statement I thought I would never say in my entire life. Purse, absolutely. Then it goes fancy purse because these items are fucking useless. I think the items that only do increase a certain stat by or decrease by your certain stat by 5. Let's put them here. Because they're fucking... I think the one that I think this is the most useful one. Then that is more useful, and then that item is the least useful. I'm trying to figure out what I should put down here. I guess the Sodometer. Sodometer is it has situations where maybe F15 is worth it, but how fast it drains? No, not really. I think this is absolutely the best item in F tier. I think early game it's really useful, but once you get V's remote, or if you get both these two first, this item is basically not necessary. This item is absolute. I kind of really want to say this is worse than these 3 items. Because if you have a team, this item could be maybe useful. But if you don't have a team, this item's fucking dog what. I think I am going to say this is lower than both the brick items. Alarm. Is alarm good? I mean... it has its uses. I feel like it does deserve to be high at least. Same thing with this. I can see if it had a 3rd ticket slot, this item would be useful. Same thing with this. If it had a 3rd ticket slot, that's useful. Same thing with this, and it was a little bit higher. If this item was a little bit higher, if it had like, if it actually increases your stealth by 1 star, this item would be worth it, and we had a 3rd ticket slot. This item, I gotta admit, I think it's like here. I think that's fine. Wait, why is this down here? I think these items deserve to be like around here. I think it like makes it so that twisteds don't long. I think if this item had a third ticket slot in your early game, I think this item absolutely. If you're playing on mobile and don't know really how to play this game on mobile, and had a 3rd ticket slot, I would say this is the best item in the F tier range. But if most people are probably gonna play this game on either console or PC, so I think this item's like around here. I think this item has its uses. Here, that's perfect. I would say it has its niches. Same thing. Only funny when you're playing gambling. I would say that it actually goes right around here. Pretty meh, but could be useful. And then I think this is above these two. I think that's my tier list. Probably a lot of people are gonna be like, "Wow, why the fuck did you rank that item so low?" But like, or rank that item so high. I think the only item a lot of people would say, "Wow, you ranked a lot higher than what most people would say," is the dials thing. But there have been strategies where I've looked at where the dial thing could be absolute busted if we had a 3rd ticket slot. So, if anything, I feel like dial maybe deserves to be a little bit like to C tier maybe. And maybe I've ranked the range thing a little bit too high as well. But I think that's basically it. How long has I been recording this video, by the way? I feel like I've been recording this for a decent while. Oh. And I feel like I should stop here. I think I'm going to make a 3rd video talking about like me ranking all the tunes. But I think I mainly want to make this video about ranking the cards, which I talked about this opinion. Again, if you disagree with me with maybe you think that the discount card is actually like a B or A tier thing, or maybe you think electrical is actually fully a S tier item, which I wouldn't argue with you with that. And then this, I actually really do think this is like basically a fine thing. The only really thing I can really think of what people would say maybe it deserves to be a little bit lower. I actually would say the cooler maybe deserves to be a little bit lower. I think Dial really fucking killed this item. The only characters I can really think of that would absolutely want this is I really can't think of a single one. I think, if anything, I think this item's more likely to join this tier actually. Star Pillow. I want to personally say it's F tier, but I feel like a lot of people would say like, oh, it has its niches, that's why it deserves to be a higher. I kind of want to say this is niche as well, and deserves to kind of join next to this item. I might have changed it a little bit. Yeah. I think the only reason why I think this thing gets out of F tier is because research capsules, a lot of masteries, you have to collect a bunch of research capsules. And like if you're playing early game, research really fucking matters. So I really do think this item. I think this item is worth being in D tier. The bandana again, if you're playing as tunes that have like don't really can't really do has like a very small skill checks, I think deserves to be in that tier. Dogbone has a niche where it's with the feather duster, but that's basically it. I can't really think. Maybe with Yada it could be useful, but that's really all I can think of. Danny's plush has uses with two tunes, maybe with Tina as well, but I really think this item is meh. I actually would say this item's like the weakest one here. This item, I would actually say this is actually, yeah, I would say Bone's better than that. Like, I think this is how it goes. This, I think this is fine. I think this maybe needs to go down here actually instead D tier. Because if you had a third ticket slot and it wasn't only a one-time use, this item would be absolutely maybe useful. But this is only one-time use per floor. I would say it's better than Danny's plush and the star pillow. I think these items are fine, depending on which characters you're playing as. Both of these items could be useful. This item is absolutely useful on the right tunes, and if we had a third ticket slot, I would absolutely say this item deserves to be S tier, but since we don't have a third ticket slot. And also, if you're playing a certain tunes with like, I really do think, actually, I think C tier is more likely what it should be. Because I just realized, like, there's certain lot of tunes that don't have a active ability. So I think C tier is more likely where it should be. Because if you have an active ability, this item is absolutely S tier. If you had a third ticket slot, if you don't have active ability, this item is definitely like an F tier. You can get use out of it. I think B tier is still good. A tier is still pretty decent. And I think S tier is absolutely like the best. Fine. I think this is fine. Again, you could disagree with me on the comments that, oh, maybe like one of these items could deserve to be a little higher. Or maybe like one of these items deserve to be a little bit lower. But I think that's it. I think I'm going to end this video here. Bye.